Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. has been temporarily shut down after an audit uncovered a massive fraud scheme involving staff members. The investigation, sanctioned by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, revealed that applicants for visas and passports were illegally diverted from the embassy's official website to private agents, costing the state millions of dollars in lost revenue. The scheme, which had been running for 5 years, was allegedly led by Fred Kwating, an IT staffer at the embassy, along with other collaborators. In response, the government has taken drastic action. Now, all foreign affairs staff posted to the embassy have been recalled immediately. Also, the IT department has been dissolved and all locally recruited staff suspended. The Attorney General will also prosecute those involved and recover stolen funds. The Auditor General has been called in to conduct a forensic audit to determine the full extent of the fraud. Again, the embassy will remain closed for a few days as authorities restructure operations and overhaul systems. Let's bring you some more. Now, the visa and passport applicants diverted to Ghana travel consultant charging $29.75 to $60 per applicant. The scheme operated for 5 years, led by IT staffer Fred Kwating. Also, case handed to Attorney General for prosecution and fund recovery. All embassy staff recalled, IT department dissolved, local hires suspended. Again, Auditor General to conduct forensic audit, and embassy temporarily closed for restructuring. Let's speak to fraud and security consultant Richard Kumadoe. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Betty.
This appears to be a very sophisticated scheme. I mean, from where you sit, what loopholes do you suspect allowed this to go on undetected for a good 5 years?
3 and 4 years ago, I became aware of a global risk assessment, fraud risk assessments done on most of our embassies and foreign missions. There were a number of things that came up as key finding indicators. One of them, or two of them I saw, was limited resources / misapplication or misappropriation of embassy resources. The other one that came up was poor customer service or delay in meeting the needs of people who apply for visas and seeking attention from the embassies. Then fast forward, when Okudzeto-Ablakwa went for his vetting, if you remember, a case came out where there was a contract he had wanted, or he had succeeding because he raised alarm. And there were contracts that were being given to certain specific people for embassy applications at our embassy. So when I saw the story yesterday, I went back to some of the people who did the research or who did the fraud risk assessment, and it began to make sense to me. But considering the fact that I have been within this industry for almost 30 years, I'm not surprised at all. The reason being that sometimes the way we award some of these contracts looks very opaque, either they are restricted tender processes or somebody just give the job to somebody to do, and there's no levels of accountability. I think to avoid all this, besides prosecution and retrieval of the money, we need to streamline people we send on our foreign missions and benchmark some of the best practices, particularly when it comes to where the loopholes are and people can take advantage to make the street. So that is what I thought of this morning, even before your interview came on.
That's just taking us forward, but just taking you back a little about what you think could have facilitated this for a whole 5 years.
No, I think somebody knew and they closed their eyes. And number two, some people have benefited from it. And number three is a deliberate exploitation of the resources of the embassies. And the reason being that they know they are not going to be caught, and even if they do, the high-handedness of policies will set them free. And that is what we are seeing all over the place.
We're aware that the Attorney General plus the Auditor General's office are already looking into this separately, investigating this separately. We're learning that this Fred Kwating, who led this operation, has already been sacked. What more do you expect as regards to him in particular?
I think he is the kingpin now, but that is just the Washington embassy. This fraud risk assessment I've told you about, it was done globally, and many of our embassies came under that particular descriptive line. So I think I'm happy the minister said they are going to expand it. And he has been a minister for, I think, more than 3 months now. They need to lump it together, make sure they retrieve the money, punish wrongdoers. Other than that, non-punishable of offenses will always rationalize bad behavior and promote antisocial tendencies in society. I don't think our embassies are so busy places that we would need to be going into these third-party services. And if we do, and we don't do them properly, then basically somebody is going to take and exploit the vulnerabilities we created for ourselves.
Indeed. Now, looking or given that locally recruiter staff were suspended, how can Ghana ensure fair investigations without wrongful victimization?
Now, I think objectivity is key, transparency is key, and we need to benchmark some of the best practices across the group. Even if we are investigating into these particular matters or financial malfeasances, let's set the benchmarks properly so that we look at the key areas of vulnerabilities and how they manage to exploit it. That's the only way we can block the loopholes within the system.
In cases like this, people say that, yes, it's good to prosecute the individuals, but retrieving the monies is also very relevant. How does the government go about this?
I would suggest, or I would subjectively recommend we go for the two. Other than that, considering the fact that we are Africans and political fraud and criminality has become what politicians do, if it goes solely for retrieving the money, then the question of how much interest do you put on it? Because there's an element of net present value of money, and money has a multiplier effect. So if I stole $10 million yesterday, invest the money, and you are just interested in retrieving the $10 million, I have an investment and I have an asset. And once you don't have the capacity of confiscating my asset, even if you take the $10 million from me, I will still live on the fraud booty, and that doesn't serve any deterrence to anybody involved in some of these high-level criminal activities.
Indeed, and finally from me, we understand that beyond the Washington, D.C., there's also a case with our office in New York. How do you expect the government to work around all these?
Now, I think OVSR Broker should just engage the research department and make sure they engage people with the right expertise. They may leave Ghana, travel across the world within a week or 2 or 3, and they will produce the results. It's one thing investigating and giving the results to those who ask for the investigation. Then there's another thing of prosecution. Then there's another thing of ensuring that the evidence gathered could not be tampered with, and they will be used in the appropriate course of jurisdiction.
Mr. Kumadoe, thank you so much for speaking to us. And he had that Richard Kumadoe. He is a fraud and security consultant.